since a large number of highly anticipated new works will be released. This time we will introduce the noteworthy light novels released in December. We hope that not only those who want to know the latest trends in light novels, but also those who do not usually read light novels will be interested in it. We will introduce the works in detail, so please use this video to find the works you are interested in. This time we will introduce works such as MF Bunko and Irregular Bunko, which will be released in late December. We will introduce the works that are attracting attention. There are many works that will interest you, such as works that won the Newcomer Award, so be sure to check them out until the end of the video. So let's get on with it. First of all, we have -X Bunko titles that will be released on December 22nd. As per usual, I will introduce them thoroughly, namely Always Gimai Musuwatsu Su Kimagaranai Imoto Orge Ikitoru Koto Nimi Shite. Unlike my sister-in-law, I decided to take in my sister, who is not related by blood. Genoa no Deshie Tenbyosha Katake Nai Majutsushi. No Chino Mao Sodateru is a lost apprentice. A magician who can only fight for 10 seconds and later raises the Demon King, and Boroboro no Elf-san Oshawaseni Suru Kushuri Urise English title. A medicine seller who makes a battered elf. These are the three works. Let's take a look at each of them. The first one is I lied to my sister-in-law. I decided to take in my sister, who is not related by blood. It's a romantic comedy about her sister-in-law, so it's a bit sad. This cover illustration is a nice touch. The story of this work seems to be a pseudo-family story in which the main character, a part-time worker who is moved by her father, takes in her stepsister and lives with her. The girl, however, seems to be having some tough times at home, so it seems like the main character takes him in to take care of her. This work was posted on Novels Club, so check out the review there. When I saw it, I felt that the main character had a lot of charm and the psychological depiction had a lot of depth. It also seemed like the main character was lying for someone else. There was also a comment saying that this is something that is precious. I think that in a good romantic comedy, the main character is more attractive than the heroine, so I'm really interested in this work. I think I'm planning to buy it. This is Disciple of Genoa magician, who can only fight for 10 seconds, training the future dedication. So first of all, the cover of the new book is impressive. It's a design that you don't often see in light novels, and if anything, it has a manga-like feel. If you see it in line at a bookstore, you might want to pick it up without thinking. It's said to be the strongest story ever. However, due to a certain incident, he was able to use his former power for just 10 seconds. There seems to be a magical fantasy that depicts the adventures of the main character, who is a magician, and two girls who become his disciples. The main character seems to have a dislike for women, and the heroine who becomes his disciple realizes that she is a woman. It's a fault line that hides certain things and goes in and out. It's also a heroine-like element. It's about a young man who has lost his powers raising Izuka, who is a bundle of talent. So even if it's a specified relationship, it's going to be quite heated. It's like raising a demon lord. I guess it's the heroine who becomes more awakened. Personally, I'm curious to see what the protagonist, whose abilities are limited, will do under the 10-second time limit. If you like designated relationship fantasy, why not check it out? Next up is a medicine seller who makes a battered elf happy, where I did see this new work before. I'm sure there are a lot of people who have thought that this might have happened because this work is originally based on a manga that helped a tattered elf go viral on Twitter. It's a novelization of that one. The story is very simple, and it's a heartwarming fantasy in which the main character is an elf drug dealer who is so worn out as a slave that he feels like he's about to die, and he saves her and makes her happy. It's a work that heals the heroine, who looks in pain and builds bonds with her. The manga is already in book form. Since it's being released as a book, turning a buzzy Twitter manga into a light novel is quite a new initiative. It's similar to the light novel of the YouTube manga. Maybe there will be more in the future. How will the manga be seasoned and turned into a novel? It's a must-see for manga fans too. -X Bunko also has Hero Classroom Volume 15, and my childhood friend's girlfriend's moral harassment was so bad that I declared separation from her too. I decided to live my life in my own way, but for some reason, the secretly beautiful girl sitting next to me confessed to me. Sequel titles will also be released, so fans of the series should not miss them on the 25th of December. Next, let's look at MF Bunko J. whereby I'll be picking up 2 continuation titles, like playing death games to put food on the table, Volume 5 and 0, Starting Life in Another World, Volume 36. Start with these 2 works. This is the 5th volume of the popular series playing death games to put food on the table. The pace of tourism is steady, so time flies. This series is this year's light novel. It's achieved the straight of being first place in the New World category and second place in the paperback category in terms of topicality. It's great that a new book is being released in the middle of nowhere. It's a rare genre for light novels where girls are seriously killing each other, but it's interesting that it's become so popular. It is more serious than I expected. Yes, it may be easy to read, because there are not many gory depictions and you can see various death games in one book. The latest edition of this series has a theme of bloody battles between swordsmen, death game royale. It's great that a new leader is depicted in the pilot. Dr. Moore, a player who was playing the game in a blind state, also appears, so the story seems to be progressing from a new perspective. It seems that multiple death games will be burned in the latest edition, so fans of the series can enjoy it here. The Movie Lights, and if you haven't read the Mushoku book series, it's still the 5th volume and it's easy to pick up, so please take this opportunity to check it out. Next up is volume 36 of Life, in a different world starting from 0. The latest issue of the Zeros here. The previous volume was released in September, so I can read one book every 3 months through 0. Really doesn't favour at its sightseeing. As for Rule, it has been decided that the 3rd season of the anime will be produced. So I don't know how involved Nagatsuki Tapu, the author of ReZero, is, but I'm sure his workload is increasing. By the way, he's also the creator of Wit Studios' Isekai Suicide Squad. It has been announced that he will also write the script for the series. It's amazing how he works so hard as an anime and script writer. Also, next year, the pace of the web series may slow down a bit. In such a situation, the latest edition of ReZero will be released, but the 8th victory is currently underway. The story of Subaru and his friends broadcasting in order to stop the destruction of the Earth. However, it looks like Beatrice will be playing an active role on the cover of the latest issue, and there are many other things being considered. It seems that Aldebaran will also appear, so I think there will be a lot of new information coming out, so I think it will be a lot of fun for the review version as well. If you're a fan of the series, let's thoroughly enjoy the latest volume. Next up is the new series' most noteworthy works, namely I Deceive the Blue, Don't Let the Detective Make Deductions. In the worst case scenario, the world may be destroyed, and will this love come to you? Yi Shiraheim-san, an honor student, kisses me, a problem child, every day. Are these 3 works suitable for this love? They are all works that won the Newcomer Award. There are many expectations, so let's go ahead the first one. Deceive the Blue. This is the work that won the Best Newcomer Award. Personally, this is the new work that I was most looking forward to in this year's MF Bunko J Newcomer Award. You can also connect Buta's illustration. It seems like the story of this work starts with the main character, who lives a lie about himself every day, being drawn into an independent policy film as an actor by a devilish junior girl. I guess it's a school youth story through film policy. It's a popular girl at school and an athletic boy join in the process of making a movie. That seems to be the case. In the military review for the award, there was a comment that the level of completion surpassed that of the military, and it was also said that there was no such thing as a boring story, but that psychological depiction was skillful. It is for the expected value as a youth novel. It's a fairly expensive new work, so of course I'm planning to buy it. My top is this was months. My can't. Don't let the detective do deductions. In the worst case scenario, the world may be destroyed. This is the work that won the Special Judgment Award for the Newcomer Award. It has mystery elements as the keywords detective and deduction indicate. It looks like a work, but this work is average. It seems to be an unusual mystery where a beautiful girl who calls herself a great detective deduces that an imaginary monster is the culprit, and then the monster actually appears in reality. Creating the truth about the culprit through deduction is a little reminiscent of the Suya Hahi series. This reminds me of something, but it seems like this work will be an anything-goes story with romantic comedies and battles, and it won't feel like a full-fledged mystery. In the author's comment at the time of the award, it was written that this work is a mess. It was packed with things that the author thought were interesting. It looks like it's going to be a story that is typical of a new syndrome. Incidentally, in addition to the main detective heroine, there are also 5 other women, including the protagonist, who are playing around with each other. I'm going to follow up on various things to keep the detective from making strange deductions. Is it going to feel like it's going to happen? If you want to read a mystery work with variable speed, please pick up this work. Next is Will This Love Come to You? Shiraheim-san, an honest student, kisses me, a problem child, every day. This is the homework of the Newcomer of the Year Award. This is an award-winning work. The atmosphere is like a school romance, but the heroine, with a slightly provocative expression, is impressive. In this work, the main character is said to be in trouble at school, and one day his father forces him to join him. Seems like the story begins after her fiancé appears. She is the most beautiful girl in school, an honor student, and is also the daughter of the company president and an active model. She's a high-spec heroine, but in front of the main character, she seems to act quite aggressively, even sharing a kiss with him. Looking at the election at the time of the award, she seems to be a high-class Arab. By the way, the main character is the character on the far right. I feel like I read the trial myself, which is the problem. He was quite a sharp character, not only in terms of time, but also in his words and deeds. So I feel like he's a very rare type of protagonist in every novels. I felt like some people would choose him, but when such a protagonist meets the heroine, it will be interesting to see how this changes. If you're interested, please check it out. MF Bunko J also has other works, like a solo gal who doesn't like anyone to stay over every day, Volume 2 and Area the Scarlet Amma Volume 40. As for Scarlet Area, the function notation is XLL. No, I can't tell how big the volume is at a glance. Also, if you're a fan of the series, please don't miss it. The next one will be on December 25th. This is an overlap paperback released on the 1st, and this time we will pick up the 2 sequel titles in the series. Reproducer of Creation Magic Vol 6 Zone of the Nova, Magic of Love That Changes the World, Black Summoner Vol 20, Intersecting Twin Demons. Check out these 2 works. First of all, this is the reproducer of Creation Magic Vol 6. This series is a magical fantasy that is gradually gaining popularity among the core light novel fans. There are quite a few who rate it as the most interesting fantasy in recent years, saying its story begins with a magical talent. So-called banishment begins when the main character, who was treated as inferior due to his lack of possessions, is banished from his family. But after being banished, he meets a legendary witch who teaches him the most powerful magic known as creation magic, which can reproduce all magic. It will be like standing up again in the story. The beginning is orthodox, but the image of the nation distorted by the aristocrats is solid, and it's well made as a high-quality fantasy. Also, the creation magic is extremely cool, and there are many variations. The main character plays an active role, so there's a good sense of exhilaration in that area. It's not like he's always going to be unrivaled, but there's a sense of exhilaration with a strong comeback, so there's a good balance in that area. Once the story is over, the heroine's many succession disputes break out. However, in the latest episode, the main character's camp is put in a difficult situation, and a strategy for counterattack is being created, so the story seems to be expanding greatly. The charm of this work is that Cal's room turns around from adversity, and it will be interesting to see what happens in the latest volume. Series fans should thoroughly enjoy it. Next up is the 20th volume of The Black Summon, the latest edition of the Parallel World fantasy series that also has a TV anime. This time, the impact of the cover is amazing. It's rare to find a light novel with such a dark cover. In a sense, it might be difficult to buy it at a bookstore. Part 11 of this work, in which the main character, who is a battle junkie, engages in various battles with his friends, has already been completed, and now the main focus is on the school. The second part of the series has begun, and in the second part, the main character, who is suffering from power inflation, has a tough time again, and the battle part seems to be getting even more intense. It's written that a mythical battle will be reenacted, so it's pretty amazing. It looks like it's going to be a fierce battle. Fans of this series should check out the latest edition. Overlap Bunko also has other stories, such as the magician who was always said to be incompetent is actually the strongest in the world, but he didn't realize it because he was imprisoned for the fun modern dungeon life. A of an Ordinary Explorer Volume 3 and Kamitsuru Volume 2, a story about me and the girls who violate the taboos of the island and fall in love. These 3 titles will be out on December 25, so don't miss them. Finally, we will pick up notable titles released by other labels. These titles include The Ideal Spunga Life Volume 15, Magic Artisan Dahlia Wilt's No More Volume 9, Tiamagic's Battlefield Diary Volume 2, but that was all I needed, complete version. These are the 4 works with the labels that hits just different. Let's start with the first one. This is the 15th volume of The Ideal Spunga Life that will be released from Hero Bunko on December 28th. It's been a long time since a new book has been released in this series. The previous volume was released in 2021, so it's been 2 years. This is the new issue of this work, but in conjunction with the release of the new book, it was announced that an anime is in the works. Honestly, it wouldn't be strange if it was made into an anime sooner, so it feels like it's finally here, since it is an early work of Hero Bunko. It was released in 2011. It's the start of tourism, so there's something thoughtful about it being made into an anime. This work was ranked number 1 in the Novel Society, but the story is about a person being summoned to a country in another world to have a baby. There's also a summoning to another world. However, contrary to the title, the master is summoned to another world. So it's a good read as a fantasy about government management in which the public works as usual. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the anime will take. Well, it's a bit different from the current anime titles, where the heroine has a child early in the story. So if you compare it, it might be surprisingly fresh. The animation speed of Hero Bunko is slow though. The quality of Hero Bunko's anime, including the Apothecary Diaries that is currently being aired, is quite good, so I hope they do their best with this work as well. I think it will still take some time till the anime ends, so fans of the series will be watching the original for the first time in a row. Next, we will introduce Volume 9 of Magic Artisan Dahlia Wilt's No More, which will be released on December 25th from MF Books. This series is also one of my personal favourites. I was looking forward to the release of the new book. The previous volume was released in June of last year, so I had to wait for the new book for quite some time. Dahlia was also announced to be made into a TV anime this year, so I'm glad they released a new book before the end of the year. Only the key visual has been announced yet, and the production company has not yet been announced. It hasn't been, but I've been hoping for an anime adaptation for a long time, so I hope it's a good anime. In terms of content, it's a work fantasy with a female protagonist who does her best, and a bit of a romantic comedy, so it fits in with the current flow of anime. I'm really looking forward to it. This is a book series, but the latest volume seems to be a story where the main character Daria involves feelings come to light when he claims that she is his friend, and it looks like there will finally be some progress in the romance between these two people. You guys should start dating soon. I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of grinning story you can enjoy because of the condition. And this time, the spin-off Volume 3 of Lucia, the side chef who also appears in the main story, featuring Lucia as the main character, will be released at the same time. This work, like the main story, is a work that depicts the feelings of the heroine, who is straight about her words. It's a fantasy, so I'd like to read them together. The time axis is the same as the main story, so please check it out as well to keep the Dahlia series. I've been waiting a long time for the new book to be released, but the simultaneous release of the 2 series is very satisfying. It looks good. So next is Timothy's Battlefield Diary Volume 2. This work has been one of the most underrated military stories to ever be debuted this year. It even ranked 24th in the best of 25K Noano 2024 web novels department. A quite amazing achievement, I must say. Before the story started being heard as a second-class medic sent straight out to the front lines. Now, she leaves the platoon and is appointed as the only medic to oversee the temporary medical services, as having now been she has to save countless lives of soldiers along with the others who work with her. Lucia Conrana has quite a heck of a ride for web novels to make their names etched in the rankings, especially this one. I can one for certain, if this does well, then come Conrano 2025 will become even more better. So regarding the web novel, it has been slow since the author had his qualification exam back in September but resumed back, and then went hiatus. It's a slow pace, but it went pretty well. I'm hopefully to see more progress very soon. If you do interested in this series, do not hesitate to check this out. And here's the last one, titled But That Was All I Needed Complete Version. This will be released by MediaWorks Bunko on December 25th. As it says, complete version, works that have already been released once. This is a mistake-corrected version of the original work that won the 22nd Dengeki Novel Award and was released by Dengeki Bunko and is Ryoya Matsumura's debut work. It's been a hit and it become popular not as a light novel but as a ride literary genre. So this complete version will be released by MediaWorks. This is the only suspense film that will be released this time. It is a suspense series that depicts why a boy who is called a devil after the suicide of a schoolboy came to be called that. It's a work of art and has a very high degree of completion. It's really a quality that befits the work in question. This time it has been extensively revised and newly written. Since it is a complete version, it seems that the quality of the story will be improved to a more sophisticated level. So I think it is worth picking up even if you have read this work before. I recommend this book as a sad suspense novel, so please check it out. This is an introduction to the light novels that are attracting attention. Finally, some of the latest volumes of the works whose anime series will start from January next year will be released, so I would like to close by briefly introducing them. Those include Tuko Amekawa's 7th Time Loop Volume 6, The Unwanted Immortal Adventure of Volume 13, and Incorrect Use of Healing Magic Returns Volume 1. Regarding this one, the main story has already been completed, but it seems that the story will be restarted to match the anime feel. I think it will become a hot topic once the anime of these 3 works is started, so please check it out. This time, we introduced the new works and novels that will be released in late December 2023. This year's content was a strong lineup, including animated works and works with new names. What did you all think of this lineup? If there's anything you're interested in, please let me know in the comments section. I'll let you know that this video is the last of the year. Until now, Sneaker Bunko and other books will be released next year, so I'll be introducing new books next week as well. I would be happy if you could click the high rating button or watch another video to show your support for the channel. See you in the next video. Goodbye.